I need a little breathing room when I'm feeling crowded in the city. Need a little green and blue when I'm feeling tired and gray. Oh, I need that sweet perfume when I'm feeling maddened by the city. A place of deep refuge from the loneliness of my days. A place for the tired and worn to come and rest by the water. A place for the spirit that's torn by the weariness of life. A place for the old to be reborn, to come and rest by the water beneath the hemlock and the hawthorn, free from stress and strife. So we'll make a little breathing room for those who are crowded in the city. Leave a little green blue for those who are tired and gray. Just a little sweet perfume for those who are maddened by the city. A place of deep refuge, a place of deep refuge, a place of deep refuge from the loneliness of their days.
The theme song. Here we go.
Katie.
Katie.
Katie Dahl.
Katie Dahl.
Katie Dahl has friends.
Ooh, she has friends.
Yes, she does. She's got a friend in me.
And she's got a friend in you.
You know that, Katie.
Katie.
Katie Dahl.
Katie Dahl.
Katie Dahl has friends.
Katie Dahl has friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo! Okay. That's Lacrissa Granberry and Ava Nimmer with the theme song. Tonight is a very special night because my dear friend Jordan Francke, with whom I have been friends for 23 years, these many years, is going to join us. And we're going to talk about movies, we're going to eat chicken wings, and we're going to play a song, some clips from, well, songs, yes, but also clips from a movie that Jordan spearheaded as the director, back in the day of high school, and I was one of the finest actors in the film. So we're gonna have some clips from that, and we're gonna talk movies. It's gonna be so great. So to start off, I'm gonna sing this song, my movieist song, my most movie-ish song, and this is called the Katharine Hepburn Waltz. Oh, but before I sing it, what a cliffhanger! Before I see how I use the movie terms, before I sing it, if you all would please, I know your fingers are just itching to click like or love or haha, or anything on this video, if you would do that, that would be the awesomest. It would help to get the thing seen. And if you write in the comments anything, I would love to know where you're from, who you are, and where you're watching from. But you could also say, what movie did you like the best at the Oscars this year? Say your thoughts about the Oscars or anything like that. Say how much you love Meryl Streep, because we're definitely going to cover that. So, all right, make your comments. Then Facebook robots will understand how important it is to spread the love. Okay, so the Katharine Hepburn Waltz. Katharine Hepburn, I wish I could learn how you managed to take a man by the hand, hold him close to your side, still speak your mind in vowels so aristocratic and grand. And tell me, Joe March, did you think yourself harsh when you said no, I can't go be a wife, I'll just write about dances and late night romances, but more importantly, piracy, shipwrecks, and strife. If I'm crazy for him, am I losing my steel? If I'm not, could it mean I forgot how to feel without thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall? Well, Mary Poppins, did you think of stopping for Bert between spoonfuls of sugar and carpetbag spells? And were you surprised by the way that it hurt to lift your umbrella and bid him farewell? If I'm crazy for him, am I losing my steam? If I'm not, could it mean I forgot how to feel without thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall? As Penelope, you wove Odysseus home, did you sigh and say someday I too want to roam? Or when he returned, could you feel your heart burn and say now he's come back and I have come home? If I'm crazy for him, am I losing my steel? If I'm not, could it mean I forgot how to feel without thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall? Well, I'm thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall. Woo! All right. So hooray. Marty and Susan, Susan and Bagley. Hello. The Jabaleys, who love Sound of Metal. My mom, who is kind of from Jordan's hometown. It's true. I would say not kind of. I mean, well, yes, okay. You're going to live there now. Whatever. Close. Peggy, thank you. I love singing that song too. It's been a long time since I sang Katharine Hepburn Waltz. My mother-in-law, Dorothy. Hello from Iowa. Hello to Iowa. Tara and Russell. Woohoo. And Diane, hello from Illinois. What a party. Tell us if you're here and you didn't say hi yet. I'd love to know. I see there are more of you who haven't told us who you are yet, but you can't be found out because I can't see you, but that's the problem. So, Jordan, I didn't give you any warning. I just brought you on.
That is okay. This lovely site that you have has this warning on the side that says, you are backstage. Be prepared to be called in any moment. Be ready. So I'm like, all right.
You've been ready.
I am ready.
Oh, good. Yay. Oh, and hi, Nancy. We're following Midtown Bailey's Harbor. Yay. What a party. Okay, and now the party has really begun because Jordan is here. Paul Flynn from East Peoria, Illinois is also here. Woo! All right, and Jordan Francke is one of my dearest friends. I never know if everyone has seen my my promo for these shows, so let me just say, if you haven't seen it, Jordan, well, what year do you think that we met?
I'm trying to think or if I know. It was right before our sophomore year of high school, so that would make it, we graduated in 01, so doing my math, 98?
Good
Is
job.
that right?
Until you graduated with a degree.
Mounds View
Yes,
High
good
School
job.
represent
Yeah,
arithmetic.
totally.
Yes. Summer right
Yes.
before our sophomore year.
Yeah, Jordan was my assigned peer helper when I changed grades and he changed schools. And Jordan called me before 10th grade to say, hello, I'm Jordan, I'm your peer helper. And my mom cried because somebody was calling me to be nice to me, which before I had to embark in a scary new school. So she cried in a good way. So
Well,
that was
good.
very nice.
Hopefully that was better than all the subsequent calls that I've had where I've called to just completely berate you.
Yes,
You know?
that's right. You
It's
know
like,
how you
oh,
are.
another call from Jordan. Oh, God.
That's right. Oh, and by the way, hi Amy. Amy Smith is here, and hi Stephen Kaywood from Sheboygan. Party. Yay. So Jordan, where are you? Jordan, so we grew up in the Twin Cities, and of Minnesota, and Rachel really wants to know, what mountains did we view in Minnesota? Good question. Mounds View. We viewed mounds.
Yeah, only
Um,
mounds.
Which I'm sure is like maybe they were Native American mounds, or I'm not sure. We did not get a lot of education on the an etymology of Mounds View High School. But so Jordan went to USC in LA and then stuck out west, forever. And that's where
True.
you are now.
That
Yeah.
is where I am. And it's crazy to think how long that's been, honestly, where it's now like over half of my life, which is nuts to think that I'm like a legitimate Angelino at this point. But my heart is always in the Midwest in a special way. But yes, here in LA.
LA. And did you what was your major officially called at USC? Was it film?
So yeah, so it was film and television critical studies. So at the actual film school, there were like at the time four, maybe five different possible degrees. There was, the coveted production, which everyone wants for obvious reasons. That is not what I got. I was in critical studies, which was more of a focus on like film history, film theory. There were some production classes that we got to take along with it, but a little more the analytical end of it. And then there was animation and screenwriting, and then a producing one as well, I think for master's degrees. But yes, I was that second analytical one.
And they put you in those tracks. You didn't get to choose those tracks. They put you in them.
Oh, well, I mean, you apply,
Oh, you apply. Okay.
you apply. And
Yeah.
so then, production is obviously the most limited and the most, coveted to get into. So that's the really hard one to get into. I did not get into that one. I got into that second tier one, but still, it was a great experience. Regardless.
I mean, I'm relieved because if you had gotten into the production one, you might still be recovering from your Oscar night on Sunday and not able to join us for Katie Dahl Has Friends tonight. So it's lucky.
That is true. And I will say, I remember one of my favorite memories of my time in school was it was my senior year, and you and our dear friend Sonia came out to visit me here. And I was in the middle of one of my production classes where I was working like late into the evenings, trying to do some sound editing for this TV production that we were working on. And I just felt so bad because you guys were there and I wasn't able to spend time with you. So I both was disappointed, but also feeling guilty because there you are. But you guys, being the lovely humans that you are, made this like immense amount of spaghetti and like put it in this huge like Tupperware trough.
Trough is what it was.
Yeah, and it was just like this like pile of carbs that you guys are like, here, we'll come bring you dinner, and then like swung by the like editing booth and we sat outside and ate delicious spaghetti together. It was like, so you were right there in the thick of it with me.
Yeah, I
Carbo loading me.
Yeah, basically that allows me to speak with expertise on this topic as well. That moment. And so now, Jordan, you work for Walt Disney Studios. And what do you do there?
So I'm going to try to be concise about it. So I'm in the marketing team, and within the marketing team, we all have sort of our very specific directions. And so I am a member of the integrated marketing and synergy team, which basically means the crux of the job is that I work with other Disney-owned broadcast networks to build out custom promotions with them, figure out ways that we can promote our movies on, all these other Disney-owned entities, and also do reciprocal marketing for them as well. And then do that same basic idea with non-Disney owned networks as well. So we'll produce a lot of unique custom co-branded content and then run it on all sorts of networks. But all in support of all of the movies that are coming out, but now also Disney Plus. So I get to work on Disney live action, Disney animation, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, Disney Plus. And over the years I've worked on some other brands and stuff too, but those are the big ones for sure.
And like, for example, an example of what you do might be, for example, to promote the movie Thor Ragnarok, you might get a bunch of Green Bay Packers in a hotel conference room and have them in front of a green screen pretending to be eaten in a ancient Roman stadium or something.
That's right? True. For example, yes, that's very true. Somehow, I don't know how, Katie, but it seems like you might have somehow weaseled your way into one of those shoots one of those times. But yes,
it was so amazing. That was amazing. That I met Packers and I shook their hands. That's all. It was very thrilling. So
and you played it so cool. I was very impressed as you were sitting there working on your required material, like not taking photos. I was very, very impressed by you.
Yes, when I shook hands with them, I just went like that, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of my amazing film clips, I thought that we're going to get to the Oscars right about now, but I thought that we would sandwich this show with film clips from The Shut-In, which is the film that you directed. In what year of our high school careers did we make this movie?
So it actually wasn't our high school years. It was the summer right after our freshman year of college.
Oh.
Yeah. Remember this? So because actually one of my good friends from school, from college, helped write the screenplay. So we worked on it a little bit over the year. And then when I came home, I think that was the one summer that I actually came home to Minnesota. And I recruited all of my lovely friends, but poor friends that I was always like requiring them to be like, hey guys, guess what? Another movie idea. I'm sure everyone was just like, oh my God, please make it stop.
No,
but
you were not. I was very flattered.
Well, good. I'm glad that's the case for you. But yeah, so no, it was actually the summer right after that. And I think I was feeling very like energized by the film school year and like, oh my gosh, we can make something fantastic. And, you know, time is what it is. Like at the time, it felt great. And then looking back on it, it's like, woof, it really feels like you are not wrong that it felt like it should have been a high school movie because ooh-wee, it can be a little rough to watch sometimes. But yes.
I mean, it has brought me great joy to revisit it a bit in these past few days. I have not watched the whole thing, but I've kind of skipped around. And what I asked Jordan to isolate for us were the clips where I, the worst actor in the world, appear. And the plot basically, I play the movie centers around me. Just kidding. I have a bit role as Hillary, the woman dating the father of the central character, Valerie. So the scene we're about to watch, I'm about to go on a date with Valerie's.
I just have to stop for a second. Sorry, I've got the giggles because I like that you're setting this up. Like it's a legit movie. That there's like, oh, wait. People are not going to get this if I don't set the scene for them. Where really,
There's nothing.
it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. The scene's
You're
great.
right,
But I
doesn't
don't
matter.
let me stop you. I mean, I really appreciate that you are doing this, but you know, I just want to level set expectations for the people who are going to keep watching. Use this, and then I'm going to continue to laugh a little bit, and then I'll be back.
Okay, here we go. Hi, you must be Valerie.
That's me.
And I'm Hillary. I'd love to talk to you, but I think your dad and I were just heading out.
I was just heading in.
Well, it was good to meet you.
Yeah.
Maybe you should tell her where we're going.
Don't worry, she'll be fine.
Woo! So good.
So good.
That's definitely
good.
the pull clip. That's what you would choose if it was an Oscar movie. That's the one
Oh
you
my
would want to
gosh.
feature.
I mean, that is the scene that people will watch and be like, now I get it. Now I understand why that supporting actress Oscar is like being shipped directly to you.
That's right.
Overnight it quickly.
That's right.
I will say, you know, it's not a movie without its faults that I take squarely on my shoulders. But like, people really did a good job with it. Like, I have to say this, like, sometimes it can be embarrassing to watch these old movies, but most of the time when I look at these movies that I made with my friends, that I made with my siblings, I look back on them and I'm like, you know, people are so, like, they're really talented and like these were really fun. And I really feel like I have learned a lot and grown from actually having these experiences. And for what it was as a movie, like, I liked that you show that scene because both Sonia, who played Valerie, and then James, who played her dad, they were actually like so good in it. As I was watching, I'm just like, these two are like legitimately fantastic actors and did a really good job in this movie that, I don't know, maybe is not worthy of their talents, but hey, kudos to them. And love your touches to the role as well, Katie. Like the decision to open the door and allow him to go through, like, that is a choice. That is a choice, and a great one, I gotta say.
Yeah, thanks. That was a choice. I also noticed that as I walked out, I really swung my arm aggressively, like I was really kind of chill. I was so relaxed on this date, to which I wore a denim skirt and Birkenstock sandals. Oh man.
Oh my
Whew.
goodness.
Okay. Okay. Whew. Nathan Porra says James Samartano was great. It's totally true.
Totally
Nancy
true.
Wishes she could revisit her high school performance of Amanda in the Glass Menagerie. I bet it was great, Nancy. I bet, and I totally bet. Sue Fink says I'm a star. That's correct, Sue Fink. I am a star. Oh, we have Catherine Holtz here from Jersey. Maria Jacobs, your mom and dad. So fun. Now, Jordan, before we start talking about the Oscars, do you want to tell us what snack we're having?
Oh,
Do you have your snack prepared?
I have my snack prepared. I wonder if I need to roll up my sleeves a little bit. So we today are going to have chicken wings. Oh, you were much better with only 2 to 3 when I gave myself a whole pile's worth. Chicken wings. Why? Because, it's celery. That's very classic of you. Because I figured if we're talking the theme of Oscars, the first movie to ever win the Best Picture Oscar was called Wings. And so we are eating wings to commemorate it. Hooray.
Hooray.
Is this the moment where I should take a bite of mine?
I think so. You take a bite of yours. I'm very cheers to you.
Cheers.
I'm gonna tell everyone about how they can tip. You can tip, and 10% of the tips tonight go to Inner City Arts, which Jordan chose. It's an LA organization, and I think what it does is it is provide opportunities in the arts for kids in the city in LA. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. It's serving like underprivileged communities here, and it offers up classes and opportunities for like summer school and summer camps and everything, but it covers all the different arts. So they have a film focus, but it's also music and art class and acting, all these lovely things. And then they have a connection to educators as well. So I think they also meet kids in their own classrooms. It's really nice. It's really great.
Cool. That's great. So 10% of proceeds tonight will go to that, and you don't have to tip, but if you want to tip, you can. And while I am on a promotional kick, I would like to tell you that next week is the last week of Katie Dahl Has Friends for the foreseeable future. Maybe I'm sure that I'll do it more, but for now, next week's the last week, and my friend Hope Dunbar and I are gonna have a closing night party where we swap songs and chat. It'll be super fun. So, hi, new friend. Super nice to have you here. She's not really my new friend, but that's what we call each other. Okay, now Jordan, we used to watch the Oscars together. I feel like it sometimes, like one time we watched them together in London. That was exciting. Do you remember
I don't no, I don't.
Okay.
But I'm not surprised. I feel like, yeah, that would have been the time. It was spring break.
Yeah. Yep. And I feel like for a while it was really important to me. Like when my life was a little less full of like family and work, I felt like when the Oscars was and whether you were going to be available to me to like talk on the phone during them or preferably watch them in person was like a huge point of importance in my life, because I have always loved you loved the Oscars and our sort of whole take on them, collective take on them. So I like
Ditto.
Yeah, thank you. Why do you think, like, what drew you? I mean, what is cool about the Oscars? Let's just like have a like general. What do you? Yeah.
To start there, I mean, what is cool about the Oscars? I think first off, what really to me is cool is movies, right? Like I think movies are like have always spoken to me. They've always been this amazing escape, this amazing sort of in film school, we talked about it a lot as like this amazing sort of like living out an actual dream, like when you're dreaming, you're in this dark space, but you have this vision and everything going on in your mind. And like movies are sort of the closest we can get to actually actualizing that in actual real life. And whether or not that was actually what was going through my mind, I think just that, ability to sort of connect emotionally with characters and have a really compelling story has always just been something that I have really loved. And so because of that, the Oscars held a lot of importance to me because, in theory, they were, looking at all the different movies made of a year and like basically putting together a list of like, there are a lot of films, but these are the ones that are really worth watching. There are some really like special things to highlight. And I really, at least at one point in life, like really, really sort of adhered to that and was like, oh, there's some sort of like a real harbinger for what is actually good that's coming out this year. And it's just sort of a quick reference of like the things that are worth watching, the things that are going to have that kind of like staying power, the things to really take note of. And so, I've always given the Oscars some, real clout because of that growing up. Do I still believe in it as strongly? Maybe, maybe not. But I think there is still something about it, about the Oscars being connected to history and film history and, sort of representing the progression of what's happened over time across, the span of like 100 years now that movies have been around, and like so much has changed and evolved. And, the Oscars to me have just sort of represented that and this sort of like amazing dream factory world that can exist, Does it actually exist? Maybe, maybe not. But it's sort of that emotional connection. And those are the things that for me were triggered when I would watch the Oscars.
Yeah. I think like totally same for me. And as a good student, I've always been a student. I love the idea of a ranking system that allows me to know what is best. And as I've become an artist, like I see the folly of a ranking system that like decides, oh, this is better than this. Like I see how ridiculous that is, especially among individual performances, that people have such different, a really subtle performance can be so amazing and not as eye-catching, as a really dramatic, over-the-top performance. You see what gets rewarded by the Oscars in terms of like physical transformation or like, inhabiting a well-known person really convincingly or whatever. And it's like, as I become more of an artist, I'm like, but those things that's not necessarily like the most amazing or touching to me. But I'm still of two minds because I still really like to have the curation of the Oscars to help me know what is good.
It is nice to have, at the end of the day, it is nice to have a short list of things to watch and to reference because, our lives are busy and are getting progressively busier, and to have this as some sort of a guide towards like, here's like a list of movies you can choose from if you really want to like spend your time and your money, wisely. Learn more about these movies and hopefully it at least points you in the right direction for the most part overall. I will say also, I know this is not the Oscars, but I always enjoyed watching those AFI Top 100 lists with you too. Like, those were fun because just like you, I was always hungry for like a list. Love a list. Love a ranking. Love it all. And it's like to literally be like, these are the top 100 best movies ever made. We're going from 100 down to number 1. It's like, yes, this is the case. And they figured it out for me. It's perfect. I can't wait. But the day that they stopped making those lists was a dark day indeed.
Dark day. Do you so you are kind of in the biz. You are in the biz. Are you a member of the Academy?
I am a member of the Television Academy, not the Motion Picture Academy. Motion Picture Academy is very, very, it's very exclusive, and I think they are, from what I hear, speaking not as any sort of a real expert at all, like what I hear is that they're trying to find ways to expand that. But historically, they've been very, like you've really had to be someone working in movies, have a sort of a proof of what you've created, or be a nominee yourself in order to like join that ranking to actually go into the Academy. I could be totally wrong. So whoever's watching this who wants to fact check me, by all means, go right ahead. But it is harder to do that, or you have to be like an executive of like a certain level with a certain number of years experience and stuff. So it is tricky to get into it for sure.
And it is is it like, how does it work? Like, how does a film, do you know, how does a film get nominated for an Academy Award?
Well, I'm a little less clear about the nomination process. I know that it is really an effort of marketing. I can tell you there is, a huge effort that happens around the time when nominations are going to be announced, that studios are really pushing certain movies and certain efforts and, really taking on an additional marketing push for that. So, so it's certainly marketing, but like from an actual tactical, like, how is it decided? I don't know. I think there's like a board of people who ultimately make the call for, what is to be nominated. I don't really know. I know that like once it comes time for voting, there's certain people within each category that, can cast their ballot for the things already listed. But I don't know the exact process for a nomination.
Yeah. Like, and then once they're nominated, it's just like strict votes within the Academy. Is it true? It's just like whoever gets the most votes of these 5 nominees or whatever.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't voted for any myself, so I'm not entirely positive, but yes.
I don't know. And so I was wondering, like when you think back on the Oscars, like what of your life, like what are the moments that like stand out to you as like really great? Like what are your favorite Oscar moment memories?
I will tell you my number one favorite moment was, and now I'm going to maybe get the year wrong, but I want to say that it was 2000. And there was this really great moment. It was the year that I think Gladiator won Best Picture that year. But there was this moment where they were highlighting all of the best original film score nominees and had Yo-Yo Ma and Itzhak Perlman come on stage and basically do this montage. And I love a montage of like the 5 nominated scores that year. And they were all really good scores. And so there was like the orchestra, but then you got to see Yo-Yo Ma and Itzhak Perlman like playing their, themes from the movies. And it was so good. Like, I think that year it was The Patriot. It was Gladiator. It was Milena, Chocolat, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And like Crouching Tiger, Milena, and Crouching Tiger. Did I say that? And Chocolat. Those 3 are so good in particular. Like I really love them. I've always been a fan of film scores, and like to have a moment where you just get to like really hear what those iconic themes from the movies were. Loved it.
Yeah, so great. And Claudia Russell says, who doesn't love a montage? Totally true. I love a montage. I'm a sucker for them.
I'll tell you who doesn't love a montage: the producers of this year's Oscars. Those people do not care for a montage. It's like I set my calendar to know that I will be able to be just like get this deluge of montages in my evening, and that did not happen at any rate. But yes,
There
love
was
a montage.
one montage. I guess it's not a montage to have the deaths. The deaths is not a montage. It's just a. But it was
Yeah.
very speedy. The deaths. The people who have lost this year. It went
It was
boom, boom, boom.
very speedy. It was very
Yeah.
speedy, which is a little sad on multiple accounts.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so wonderful montage moment. Yo-Yo Ma and Itzhak Perlman. What other excellent Oscar memories have you?
I mean, I think there's also, I think back in the days when there were hosts to the Oscars, and it was also an opportunity for some really great comedy sketches. Used to love those. Like I remember the year I think Billy Crystal was hosting, and he did that great like opening montage. That one year, he hosted many times, but it was the year of Titanic, and he did this opening sort of comedy sketch where he was like inserted into the movies and stuff. And then I remember he did this like he took the theme to Gilligan's Island and then used that to like tell the story of Titanic, and just thought it was so funny. Like where they were like, the skipper was, the actual captain of the ship, and whatever, and they were like putting different people into there, and I'm just like, oh, this is so fun. I really loved it. So I think like he just brought a great sort of energy and fun to the whole thing. Like loved that too.
Yeah. I know that like what you and I was wondering if we were going to talk about, and now because I'm in charge of the show, we are. What you and I always were very hot to trot on, I remember, was the moment when Elia Kazan was honored, and there was a big controversy leading up to the Oscars. Like, was it okay to honor him because he had this, really problematic past of telling. He told the House Un-American Activities. He talked to the House Un-American Activities Committee, right?
Right.
And so there's this big question of like, do we honor? Are we honoring his work, or are we honoring his life? Or at least that's how I interpreted the question. As a 17-year-old or whatever, however old I was, and and when they honored him, Kathy Bates stood up and just like clapped, and you and I loved that moment. Like I still feel inspired thinking about that moment. But like I have thought about that moment so much because it's like comes up all the time now. Like it's not that is like the least of our problems. Like now it's like we've got like the Woody Allens of the world, or these people who are like deeply problematic people whose art we have revered, and like what do we do with that? So it hasn't gotten better.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't gotten better, and really in the grand scheme of things, I feel like maybe it's not that it's gotten worse, but it's that things have been exposed now that are in a way so much more troubling than being a communist, like in that way. Like it is an interesting question, and I go sort of back and forth on it, but I'm sort of surprised myself that given in light of what's happened the past like 5+ years with all that we've learned, I really have begun to think that somebody's personal life and what they do outside of their actual, artistic endeavors matter, and needs to be taken into account, it is really troubling. And it's like, I do wonder if now that Kathy Bates moment was going to happen, would I be excited about her standing up and cheering? Would I feel uncomfortable with it? Would I be anti-Kathy Bates? I also think Kathy Bates was just one of those people like, what are you doing? I will follow you, whatever your lead is, because I love her. But yeah, I don't know. Like it is tough, especially because like one of my favorite filmmakers is Woody Allen. Like you mentioned him, like so many great, brilliant things that he's done, but you know, in learning a lot of, you know, what has happened and has allegedly happened behind the scenes, it's tough for me now to like want to sit down and just watch one of his movies. Like you can't turn off in your head like what is happening behind the scenes. It's hard. It's hard. It's rough. And it's, I feel like a question we will continually grapple with because, you know, I think in the case of a lot of great artists, you know, these are people who are troubled in a lot of ways, you know, who have, you know, a very dark side to them and use art as a means to express that. And, you know, it's I think this is going to be an issue that will be just sort of ongoing for us. And now, thankfully, that there is a lot more, you know, like a lot more exposure to people and like what is the truth of what's really happening in their lives. We're going to learn more. And I think we're just going to have to continue grappling with what we really feel about it. You know, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I also have thought of that Ilya Kazan moment a lot, especially recently. Yeah.
You know, and I interestingly, like what you just said makes me think about like how much the Oscars, the ceremony of the Oscars is the joy of it for me is like seeing the actors, seeing all those people whose work I love, like in one place interacting as, you know, as normal people. Of course they know they're on screen and they're not at all being normal people, but you know, like, you love to see, and they're like all in one spot and it's thrilling. And especially like before there was like Twitter or the internet, you know, you didn't, it was a much more mediated interaction that, you know, you had with the people that you admired and to get to see them all in one spot on this video screen was like, you know, like one night a year was like really a big deal.
Yeah,
and like,
true.
It trades so much. Even this year that when it was so much smaller, it trades so much on the persons, the human beings whose work we're honoring, like this, you know, the all of the the quick cuts to the audience and how much we see their faces and how much I care about whether they seem to be like, you know, nice or do they seem to like the host or, you know, like whatever, like I always like I think these thoughts in my head, it's like, it makes it almost impossible to separate a person from their work because like the culture of movies is so much about the person's persona, you know, which is a persona, but which we tell ourselves is their real self, you know, like, and like, I have a hard time loving somebody who I think seems like a jerk, you know, like, or seems weird. Like after Jodie Foster gave that crazy speech at the Golden Globes 5 years ago, I was like, where has my Jodie Foster gone? Like, she's so nutty.
I mean, so nutty. Like, I have to say, that is probably one of the steepest dives that I've ever taken in terms of what I think of a person, because literally prior to that night, Jodie Foster could do no wrong whatsoever. Like, she was like, I had just idolized her and thought she was great. And honestly, I still think she's great. Like, I still am so impacted by, you know, so many of her roles, but especially Silence of the Lambs. But like after that speech where I'm like, what kind of person are you? And like, especially that she is just so closely related to Mel Gibson, like, you know, and is so free to say like, oh, great friend. And I'm choosing him as the person to be here as I accept my Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I fully relate to Mel Gibson myself. And so
the anti-Semitic comments don't do it for you, huh?
Not usually.
No.
And so that was, and so that was a surprising moment that I was like, Jody, no, Jody, come back to the light. But now she's on her path, and God bless. Good luck to her.
Well, I mean, you think how much things have changed since then. Like, she was basically almost coming out, and it felt like a big deal. And that was only like 6 years ago or something. I mean, 8 years ago. I don't know. It was not that long ago.
Yeah,
like, how things have changed since then, in that respect is crazy. Yeah, that, like, but then there's like Meryl Streep. I promised we'd talk about Meryl Streep. My favorite of faves. And like part of the reason that she is, I know that it's not unusual to love Meryl Streep. This is not like a unique perspective that I have adopted. But like part of the reason that I love her so is that I think she seems delightful. I think she seems like kooky.
Oh,
but
yes.
delightful. Like I would
Yeah.
love, how our friend Sonia's friend got to play charades with Meryl Streep. Like I think charades with Meryl Streep sounds so fun.
Like the best experience in life. I think
Yeah.
because here she is, considered to be like the best actress, of our time, essentially. But you're totally right. She seems like just such like a kooky character. And just learning that like her best friends, from what I've heard, are like Christine Baranski and Tracy Ullman, like these people who are also just so cool and interesting in their own right. It's like, and also like, especially Tracy Ullman, I think is like so talented. So I don't mean this to diminish, but like, the fact that she's choosing to hang out with them, like people who seem fun and comedic and, also don't take themselves so seriously. It's like, you just seem wonderful. And also proven by the time that she, what was it, the Lifetime Achievement Award that she was getting at the Globes, I want to say one year. And as the camera was like scanning, and everything, she took a moment and like stopped herself mid-speech and was like, oh, Catherine O'Hara, and like specifically called her out like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Where I'm like, oh, are they friends? That's the best. Oh no. Oh my God. My terrible camera setup. I was telling Katie before this started, and now I'll tell the rest of everyone too. Oh my gosh, why won't it even say? I literally have like the worst setup of all time here because I was having so many tech issues earlier. So I have my iPad like sitting on top of a box, on top of like a stand with like a candle sitting to like prop it from like not moving forward. And like what I had feared would happen just happened. And so, it's this is the world we live in right now. But at any rate, Catherine O'Hara and Meryl Streep as friends. Could you imagine anything better? Like,
no.
To be a part of that, like, Sunday brunch would be literally the best treat of life. It would be so great.
Truly amazing. Yes, I am like, this is not about the Oscars, of course, because it's a television show, but like, we are watching Schitt's Creek now, and I just don't know how it took me so long. It's so good. It's
so good. It's so good. And like Catherine O'Hara in it, like what? Like she is just a complete treasure. Like so funny. Every episode, like how she comes up with who this character is going to be and like the affects of it. I mean, like, oh my gosh, like truly like a genius actress. And it's crazy to think that only in like the last season, just now, did she win the Emmy.
Oh, that she won the Emmy. Okay, great. I was like, I don't want a spoiler, but no, okay, great.
Oh no, I'm not giving you
the Emmy is not a spoiler. No, that's
good.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Like that finally, like she's getting recognized. And same thing with like Eugene Levy hasn't won an Emmy or anything either. Where I'm like, this is crazy. Like these people are so talented and obviously huge favorites of mine and everything. I'm like, why has no one recognized them in the right way? Though I will say what also was nice was when the two of them were singing at the Oscars when the song From a Mighty Wind was nominated. Ugh. That was wonderful.
What did they sing? Did they sing Kiss at the End of the Rainbow? Was that what was nominated?
Katie.
Yeah.
They did. A Kiss at the End of the Rainbow. It was very sweet.
What plays when you call me? That's your ringtone, Jordan.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
Um,
No wonder you don't answer. You just want to sit and listen to
I
the
just
song.
wanted to play on, like, Jordan, I just keep playing. Yes, that's right. Jordan calls me every couple hours, and I'm like, I don't want to hear the song. So, Jordan, what did you think about? I feel like we would be remiss if we did not talk about this year's Oscars at all. So, like, what? I mean, I'm interested in I'm interested in both what you thought about the totally different ceremony and also what you thought about the winners. So so go.
Well, okay, so ceremony. Wah wah. I did not care for it so much. I was like, this is usually like a big celebration, a big like exciting thing to watch, filled with music and montages and little comedic bites and stuff. And it ended up just sort of feeling, it almost, as I was watching it, it almost felt like I was at like my Temple yearly brunch fundraiser event, like, where I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this sort of thing before, and it just felt so dour. And I guess I go back and forth in my head of like, on the one hand, wanting something bigger and a little more like glamorous and a little more fun. But then I also think about how in this year that we've had, is it right to have that sort of an event? And I ultimately go to yes, like I think this is meant to be like something that is supposed to be celebrating movies and, the great, performances and art that's been made throughout the year. And, I think because like the Oscars have now become so political, or everything about like the movies and the speeches have become so political. It's almost like there's this sense of we need to respect the politics, and do what's right for the world that we're in right now, rather than say like people more than ever maybe need an escape and need a moment and need to be entertained and want to be excited by what they see. And it really this year was a bit of a drag. And I actually think of like the really, really great. I feel like I'm talking all award shows ever on this show and not just Oscars, but like really, really great was the Emmys in 2001, right after 9/11, when Ellen hosted, and it was sort of delayed because there was like this huge mourning, obviously, across the country. And so like the Emmys had to be delayed, and they're like, well, we can't just have a big, celebration like this. But, when it actually came back, I forget how long after that, like Ellen's hosting of it, she addressed the issue like spot on and, said like, we have to laugh, like we have to do this, and then that's when she made that joke about like,
a gay woman wearing
nothing.
pants
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like nothing would upset like Bin Laden more than seeing a gay woman wearing pants, like, or something like that, which is it's so funny. Like, it's so funny. And it just was like healing at the same time. And I just don't feel like anything within this presentation felt quite like that. Like I feel like there could have been more celebration. There were a lot of great things to highlight this year, and feel like all these movies deserved like, a little bit of a cheer, but I didn't really feel that in the show. I don't know if other people feel the same or disagree. I don't know, but that's sort of my takeaway from that. But then like in terms of the the actual winners themselves, like I have to say overall, I was pretty pleased with who walked away with awards, for the most part. I, tried to watch as many of the movies as I could, which, this year actually was a little bit easier than others because they're all on various streaming services for the most part. But yeah, no, I feel like generally speaking, they got it pretty consistent with what I would have selected for the most part. I was really excited for Promising Young Woman to win screenplay. I thought it was so good and so different and interesting. And I feel like of the movies this year, the two that really sort of stick with me and I keep thinking about are Promising Young Woman and The Father. Like, to me, just because I'm drawn to thrillers and suspense and everything like that, like those two movies utilize those same tropes. And I just thought they did it so well and so unexpectedly, and they did it with a little like genre mashing, which I always enjoy. So really enjoyed. I'm glad that they got recognized, and I was happy with that. And yeah, a lot of the other awards I agreed with, though it would have been nice to see Minari win a little bit more because that one was also such a really special movie. So yeah.
We watched that. I saw maybe 8 of the movies that were nominated throughout, like over all the categories, more than I thought. Like I was telling Jordan before this conversation, I was like, I haven't seen any of the movies, but then I realized like, I just didn't watch them in the lead up to the, like I watched Soul, I watched My Octopus Teacher like long ago, whatever. But but anyway, Minari we watched just Saturday, and like I was just sobbing, like with my, having a little 5-year-old, like, and I love his relationship with my mom so much, and like just like the grandma grandson relationship was like killing me, like everyone is very excited, including my mom in the comments about this. May Lee, who I presume is your friend May, because everyone I know named May is a friend of Jordan's who's like many years in his life. Like I loved that movie. And I also was thinking, the most amazing thing about Minari is, wouldn't it be amazing to think that Mountain Dew was good for you? Like, what if you thought to yourself, like, Mountain Dew is a really healthy drink? What an amazing life to live. Like, I just think like that would be so, I don't even love Mountain Dew that much, but if you thought this thing that tastes this good is amazing for you, like, what, speaking of living in a dream factory.
I mean, yeah, that's like rose-colored glasses for everything. Like, if Mountain Dew is a health drink, then my God, the rest of this world that we live in is like a pleasure dome, essentially.
Yes,
that's fantastic.
Exactly. Kubla Khan.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and Nomadland, I finished that movie and sobbed also. Like, I just felt like that movie was so surprising to me. And also, I didn't know anything about it, so I was like, wow, these people feel so real. And Rich was like, they are real. And I was like, whatever, Rich. Like, and then he kept being like, they are real. They are real. I was like, no, I mean, they just seem like real people. He's like, yes, they are. They are real people. Like, fine. Anyway, I've now come to understand what he meant. Those were my thoughts on the Oscars.
Well, that's good. Nomadland I enjoyed. I feel like I don't know. I mean, I guess it was like, for what it ended up being what it meant to be, right? So I appreciate it because it felt rambly, but it was supposed to be rambly. It was sort of, this very like backseat approach of like, let's look at the vistas and everything like that, which it just didn't register with me so much, but I appreciated it for what it was, and I liked what it had to say. And like, I've not even really thought much about this, like gig economy that we have right now, and just seeing what it's like for people that are literally signing up for, a holiday, Amazon gig, basically, and how much they rely on that for their, salary for the entire year. I feel like it was eye-opening for that, and I appreciated it for that. But yeah, I don't like. Do you think you would take and watch Nomadland again? Like, do you think you would ever like just turn it on and be like, I'm in the mood for this, and
I think
come back to it?
I really loved it. Yeah. I think, of all the movies I saw, I would rather watch that again. I probably am most likely to watch Soul again, as it is the most children's-y movie. So we go in real streaks of child movies here. Right now we're on an Inside Out streak, though, and I had never seen Inside Out until last week, and oh my goodness. I remembered you telling me that I should have seen it long ago, and boy, were you right.
It is a Pixar gem for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Oh, well, I'm glad that you're getting the experience to watch that now too. Yay.
Yes. Okay, now we've talked about the great movies of the year, and it's kind of led us to this apex climactic moment of the second clip from the show. I'm sure is
We've
why
built to
you
this.
all have been sticking around. Yes, it's a slow burn until now. So here we go.
Thanks so much. It's such a great movie. What a great movie. I'm so glad that we finally saw it. I've been wanting to see it for a really long time. Yeah.
Val! Are you okay? Val, come on, Val, wake up. Are you okay?
Dad, I'm so sorry. I was making popcorn. It's just overflowed and it went all over. I'm so sorry.
I love it so much. I would just like to say I share just the tiniest 1 second snip of me of the gasp my gasp moment on Instagram. And my friend, who's a real actor, one of the best actors I know, Ava Nimmer, who's the theme song singer, she sent me back an impression of my gasp. It was so spot on. And she pointed out, she's like, what I really like about your gasp is that you have your hand in your pocket as you walk in. And she's like, it's like you were thinking, the way I will make my shock even more shocking is if I seem extra casual when I enter. Totally.
I love just the thought that someone just sort of sleeping in a mess of popcorn for whatever reason is worthy of this complete and utter startling. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
just everything
man, I really
about
sold
it.
it.
Everything
Claudia
about
Russell
it.
says, what is this? You missed this. That was we had a first. You can, after this episode is done, you can go back and watch the first clip, Claudia, which is my first entrance into this movie, which Jordan has instructed me I don't need to explain the plot of. It's a movie that we made in 2001. Jordan made. I had a cameo. So, okay.
No, we all made Katie.
Yes, that we all made it together.
Mm-hmm.
You all have been delightful commenters. Claudia, Sue, May, Shelly, my mom. So many of you have been commenting delightfully, and I appreciate it, and has made it so fun. You don't forget that if you want if you are feeling to yourself oh, I just have $7 or $20 too many dollars right now, then I have the solution for you, and that is that you can tip, and all the 10% of the tips tonight go to Inner City Arts, which is an LA organization that helps expose kids to the arts in the city, underprivileged youth. And next week is the last week of Katie Dahl Has Friends. I really hope you can all come. It's gonna be so fun. My friend Hope Dunbar and I are going to swap songs and laugh a lot. Although I can't promise laughing till crying, as that is really happens mainly in my life with this delightful man, Jordan Frank, who I'm so grateful to know.
Oh, I'm so grateful to know you too, Katie. You are the one who makes me laugh more than anyone. And it's so nice to have been here and to be a small part of this and everything too. I'm just so proud of everything that you've done, Katie, and I know everyone who's on this call and on this presentation, whatever, they have to agree. The fact that you've managed to stay afloat in this really difficult time, and I'm just so impressed with how you put all this together, and I am just so proud of you every day. And so I just say kudos to you, kudos to Katie Dahl for being amazing.
Thanks, Jordan Frank. Ugh, you're the best. Do you have? I'm gonna sing a song to close us out. Do you have anything in particular you'd like to hear? You don't have to. I can just pick.
I mean, why don't you pick? Why don't you pick? I feel like can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Okay, here I go. I will. I'll bring you back to say bye after this song. Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'll eat a chicken wing in the meanwhile.
Oh, good. Okay. I wonder what. This song about friends. Living in this little town, most times it suits me fine. I got my radio, I got my rhymes. His big bed and this little town, they've suited me just fine. I get to feeling lonesome in my mind from time to time. But you turn my lonesome into something fine and shining. You turn my stones into diamonds. Diamonds. All them gaggling girls, they get me every time with their gold and their gossip and their wine. That giggling gaggle of girls gets me every time. Yeah, they make pebbles of my pearls, they turn my dollars into dimes. But you turn my lonesome into something fine and shining. You turn my stones into diamonds. Diamonds. You live beside the waters where the ships in storm clouds sail. I know you've seen the belly of the whale, but you watch those waves roll in, you keep coming through the hail. From your cupola in Nineveh, you guide me through the gale. 'Cause you turn my lonesome into something fine and shining. You turn my stones into diamonds. 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 Yay!
Yay. So good, Katie. So good.
Thanks, Jordan. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. I am grateful and thrilled. So thanks to all of you for joining us. And I hope, Jordan, I hope I talk to you soon. And all the rest of you too.
Yes, I hope the same.
Oh, and also, Jordan, If you had to tell us one movie that you think we should see from this year's Oscars, if we didn't, would it be one of those Promising Young Women or The Father, or what would you leave us with?
Oh, geez. I mean, like, I feel like there's something for everyone this year. It depends on what you're looking for, you know? But
Yeah.
my favorite, we'll just go with my favorite. I will say, you know what? I'm going to say The Father. Go The
Great.
Father.
I didn't watch it yet. I'm going to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Spoken like a man who's going to have a baby soon. The Father, your favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Okay, hooray. Well, thanks again, and bye, everybody, and we'll leave you with the theme song.
Katie Dahl.
Katie Dahl has friends.
Katie Dahl